Hi, I'm Sal Frances and I'm a trainer at the Women's Circus, and my favourite thing to train is acro balance. And when I don't have a person within the vicinity to throw around or have step all over me or whatever, I like to keep my strength up to be able to do that whenever I get the opportunity. So today we're going to go through a bunch of different exercises that will help your acro balance strength. So, things that we will need today, you're going to need a little bit of space to move around. If you've got a yoga mat, it'll probably be more comfortable. If not, and you're feeling pretty hardcore, great. A water bottle on hand with water in it. And a couple of kind of specific things that we'll need. We'll need a chair, and also, if you've got them, yoga blocks could come in handy. If you don't have yoga blocks, then you can try a couple of big heavy books. If you don't have any of those things, you can try a weight as well for one of the exercises. One other thing that I really like to bring to classes at home is a mascot, because it's kind of nice to have a training buddy. So today I'm in the Women's Circus space, and I found a mascot in my pigeonhole. I've been hanging on to it for a very long time. It was made by one of my students. This is my mascot today. It doesn't have a name. Feel free to name it from where you are if you would like. All right, so to start, we're going to just mobilize our joints a little bit so that our body feels a little bit more ready for movement and we're less likely to hurt ourselves. So we're going to start at the bottom of our bodies, and we're going to work our way up. So I'm going to get everyone to pop your hands on your knees, and we're going to try and keep our feet flat on the floor, and we're just going to draw circles with our knees. And then we're going to take it the other way. All right, then we're going to get a little bit more tricky with it. We're going to take our knees forward, out and around, forward, out and around. One more, and then we're going to go backward, out and around. And then just for good measure, take them apart, bring them together, swap your hands over, take them apart, bring them together, swap your hands over, speed it up. Oh, it's broken. All right, keep moving along, shall we? I'm going to now stand on one leg, and I'm just going to point and flex that foot, and then draw some circles with my ankle, back the other way, and then I'm going to try and keep my knee exactly where it is and draw circles from the knee down. If you are finding it hard to balance here, you've got a chair with you, because we already established that. You can just pop your chair next to you, put your hand on it. Did we change direction? Can't remember. Don't think so. Let's go back the other way. I think that's the other way. All right, then we're going to take our knee in a sideways figure of 8. Trying to really open out to the side. I could probably use a chair for balance here. It's getting a little bit dicey. And then other direction. That is confusing for my brain. All right, before we put that foot down, we're going to do the super challenge. And what the super challenge is we're going to hold that foot in the opposite hand. We're going to take our free hand up to the roof, and then we're going to try and bring it down through the gap and touch our toes. Then up on the outside of the leg and touch our nose. Back down to our toes, and all the way back up to the roof. And then we're going to shake it out. Burnt that shake out. It's getting a little bit warm in that foot that was on the ground. All right, other side, same thing. So standing on one leg, pointing and flexing, and then drawing circles from the knee down, trying to keep the knee where it is. Back the other way. And then our sideways figure of 8. Back the other way. All right, time for the super challenge. If it was easy for you last time around, feel free to try it with your eyes closed. Okay, reaching up with the spare hand, reaching all the way down through the gap to the toes, up on the outside of the leg to the nose, down to the toes, back up, total control. Yeah, first try. All right, moving up a little bit. I'm gonna put my hands on my hips and I'm gonna do big wide circles with my hips. Whichever direction my hips are going in, my torso is going in the opposite direction. Changing direction. And then we're going to bring it in. We're going to isolate just the hips here. So we're going to take them forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side. We're going to smooth that out and just try and draw circles now. And then back the other way. And then just for kicks, see if you can do a figure of 8 with that. And if that doesn't feel weird enough, try going the other way. All right, shaking it out. We're gonna keep moving up the body. I like to keep my hands on my hips for this one because it kind of connects my shoulders to my hips. I can try and keep them in the same position as each other. And I'm just gonna try and isolate my chest. So I'm gonna be going backwards and forwards. So backwards with the ribs, forwards with the ribs, backwards, forwards. We are channeling our slow motion inner Beyonce, or a shy chicken and a bold chicken. Feel free to add sound effects to your chickens. And then we're going to take that around in a circle, trying to keep the hips and the shoulders pretty much where they are, and then changing direction. All right, shaking it out. Moving up to the arms now. We're going to basically alternate now between backwards and forwards in terms of our movement. And we're going to move through shoulders, elbows, and arms. So basically it's backwards with the shoulders, forward with the elbows, backward with the arms, forward with the shoulders, backward with the elbows, forward with the arms. Backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, rinse and repeat. Shaking it out. Next thing that we're going to do, if you haven't done this before, watch before you have a go of it so you can see the whole thing, because halfway through you will only be able to see your own legs and not me. So I'm going to start by taking a breath in and bringing my arms up. As I breathe out, I want to have soft knees. I'm going to swing my arms forward and over, and I'm going to bring my chest down with it. And as I breathe in through my nose, my arms come around, backwards and up. So I'm going to just get you to do a few of those at your own pace. So breathing in and go for it. We're going to add some little jumps. We're going to add one at the top and at the bottom. So we're using the momentum of the arms to help give us a little bit of lift. Last one. Great. Let's stand now with our feet about double hip width apart. We're going to try and actively keep our hips facing the front. And we're going to turn around with the torso. I want to try and watch the hand that's going around behind me to help generate just a little bit more twist. I'm going fairly gently. And then I'm going to go a little bit further into it, and I start to bring my hips and I'm lifting my back heel off the floor. I want to make sure that I'm maintaining control of my balance all the way around. And now start using the momentum of the turn to let your arms swing around. Make the turns a little bit smaller and let your arms just keep coming around, kind of like one of those Tibetan hand drums. and smaller, and shake it out. All right, circles with the wrists. Change direction. Got some good internal body percussion going on in this left wrist. Shake it out. So I'm gonna put my hand out in front like this. I'm gonna pull it in towards me, and I'm gonna make sure I grab my thumb as well. I wanna keep my wrist as high as my shoulder, and I don't wanna pull so hard that I hear a snap. But I do wanna feel a nice stretch through there. Then I'm gonna turn it over, make a fist. Again, I wanna keep the wrist as high as the shoulder and gently pull down, so I'm stretching out the front of the wrist. Going over to the other hand, don't forget about your thumb. And then we're going to turn it over, stretch out the front of the wrist. Shaking it out. Going to put in a little bit of this one. And then we're going to try and go back the other way. If you're feeling really fancy with it, try and take it all the way out to one side. Bring it over and across, and then back again. And if you want a little bit more, take it up over your head, and then do it out in front of you, and then try and do it upside down. And now we're getting ridiculous, so we're going to stop that right there. Let's do a little bit with our necks before we keep going. So standing with our feet below our hips, and we want to make sure we're drawing our belly button in. Whenever we're kind of doing a stretch or something with part of our body and we're in a standing position, it's a good idea to check in and get that you've got a good kind of aligned position with your body, weight nice and even between your feet. I'm drawing my belly button in towards my spine. I'm extending through my lower back. I'm thinking about the top of my head, lifting up towards the ceiling, and I'm drawing my shoulders down and together so that my ears are as far away from my shoulders as possible. And I'm just going to start by looking to one side gently, and then the other. Keep going. Back to the center, and I'm going to lift one ear up towards the ceiling. I'm lifting my left ear. I'm going to bring my right arm up and just rest my hand on the side of my head and reach my left arm down. This hand here isn't doing any pulling, just using the weight of the arm to help assist with the stretch. And then I'm going to release, gently turn my head so I'm looking down the side of my body, and I'm going to replace this hand on the back of my head. Again, not pulling, just getting a little bit of weight in there to help me get a bit more of a stretch. It's really more about this hand here reaching down. Gently going to release that and let my head come back to center. I'm going to lift the other ear, hand comes up, reaching that one down. No pulling with this one here. And then turning to look down the side of the body, placing the hand now on the back of the head. I want to make sure that everything else is still aligned like we set up before. And release, coming back to center. I'm going to put my hands together just at the front of my chest here. I want to think about keeping the back of my neck nice and long. I'm going to lift my chin up towards the ceiling. And then just gently, chin to chest, clasping my fingers together. Again, I'm just using the weight of my arms, not pulling, but I want to think about drawing my shoulders down as far away from my ears as possible. And gently release. In order to get our bodies a little bit warmer, we're going to do a tiny bit of cardio. I've brought some extra props for the cardio, but you won't need them. Side note, I'm trying to learn to juggle 5 balls. I'm not very good at it right now. What we're going to do is I'm going to get you folks to do some star jumps. And every time I drop a juggling ball, you have to sit down on the floor and stand straight back up again. You'll probably get a lot of opportunities to sit down on the floor. Let's see how we go. So make sure you've got enough space around you for your star jumps. When you do sit down, I reckon try and do it fairly quickly and really quickly back up again, but not so quickly that you break your bum. Okay, so star jumps, ready, and begin. All right, back up, here we go. Oh, I should have practiced for both of our sakes. All right, last go. All right, good. Hope you're feeling a little bit warmer. I am feeling somewhat frustrated with myself, but welcome to the world of juggling. We're going to do a little bit more balancing here. So this is just a little exercise that I think is really good for knowing where our body is when our brain is not necessarily upright. So, and it's good strengthening and injury prevention stuff too. So I'm going to start on one leg. I'm going to lift it up in front of me. I'm going to stretch it out as high as I can. That is as high as I can. And then I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to tip. Actually, I might do this side on. So we've gone up, out, in, and then I'm going to tip and straighten the leg out behind me, and I'm trying to make a horizontal line. I don't know if I am though, because my brain's not upright. So you can be the judge of that. So then from there, I want to bring it back in, and come back to upright. And we're going to do that 5 times through on each leg. So let's do it all together. Up, out, in, tip, back, in, and up. Only 4 more of those to go on this side. Out, in, tip, back, in, and up, out, in, tip, out, in, and up. 2 to go, I think. Tip, back, in, and up. Last one. Out, in, tip, back, in, and up. Should be feeling fairly warm on the other side by now. So we're going to give it a little bit of a shake out. All right, other leg, here we go. Up, out, in, tip, out, in, back up. Out, in, tip, out, in, back up. How many are we up to? Is that 2 or 3? Or is this 3? This is 3. Good, that means it's going to be very warm by the time we finish. 2 to go. Last one. Out, in, tip, out, in, and up. Shake it out. As somebody who's been training circus for quite a long time, I've done a fair bit of yoga, but in circus classes. I haven't really been to yoga, and I've kind of taken the bits and pieces of yoga that I have done in other classes and have put that together in a little bit of a sequence that I think is a really good, thorough, full body warm-up with a little bit of strength and a little bit of flexibility thrown into it as well. So we're going to go through that now. So we're going to start just moving through one kind of very simple sun salutation, and then we'll kind of build on that in a different way each time. We'll go through 4 or 5 of them in the end. So when we're doing our sun salutations, we want to start off in that position of alignment that we already talked through. There are going to be points where I bring my arms up. When I bring my arms up, I don't want to bring my shoulders up with them. I actually want to draw them away from my ears and actually try and draw my shoulder blades together down the middle of my back when I do this. So Starting in that position of alignment, don't forget you want to draw your belly button in and extend through your lower back. So I'm going to breathe in and take my arms up. I'm going to breathe out, fold from the hips. Breathe in, hands on my shins, back extension. And we'll start off fairly slowly. As I breathe out, I'm going to put my hands down under my shoulders, step my feet back into a front support and lower down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in, just a mini cobra. If you're not super warm, you don't want to go into it too hardcore. As we breathe out, we're going to tuck our toes, push our bottom up into the air, and then I'm just going to walk my heels one at a time towards the floor. Now, while we're here, I'm going to go through a little checklist that every time we're in our down dog shape for an extended-ish period of time, that I want you to kind of check through. So when we have our hands down on the ground, they're shoulder width apart, we're going to point these fingers forwards. If I do this, you'll remember. I'm not trying to be rude, but if I do this, you'll remember. So, middle fingers pointing forward. The other things we want to go through are working our armpits towards our ankles, working our hips up into the roof. Make sure your neck has no tension in it. Pushing your thumb and forefinger into the floor, but at the same time trying to roll your shoulder blades away from each other. Most important thing that you need to be doing here is breathing. Don't forget to do that. All right, I'm going to take a breath in and either step or jump my feet towards my hands. I'm going to breathe out, stretching down, and then I breathe in to come up and bringing my arms up. I'm leading with the crown of my head. I'm engaging my core to do that. Breathing out, relax the arms. So we're going to go through that, as I said, a few more times. It's going to be a little bit different each time. All right, so let's continue. Breathe in, arms up. Breathing out, folding forward. Breathe in, hands on your shins, back extension. Breathing out, I'm going to put my hands down. You can jump back now if you like, or keep stepping back and then lowering down in 5, 4, keeping your elbows in, 2, 1. Breathe in and out. We're going to tuck our toes back to our down dog. Don't forget your checklist here. So that is your armpits towards your ankles, bum up, neck nice and relaxed, thumb and forefinger into the floor, rolling your shoulder blades away from each other, and you're breathing. In fact, you should breathe as if your life depends on it. Quite a few breaths here, and then we're going to take a breath in and we're going to step our right foot forward into a long lunge. Now in this lunge, I want to keep my hips square to the floor. I'm up on my back toe. I really want to try and work that back leg straight. And I'm going to bring my arms up, shoulders down, and look up. I'm making sure I'm tucking my tailbone, and I want to sink a little bit further down into that. If you are comfortable here, you can try tipping back from the hips, but not really arching your back for this one. Going to take a breath in, turn to the side. My back foot is now pointing out to the side, my heel is down. My front knee is tracking over my front foot. I want to reach in that direction, reach down to the foot, look up at the top hand. I'm going to hold here for a couple of breaths. Breathing in, hand comes back down, hips turn, I'm on the back toe again, and then I'm going to take my right arm up, and I'm going to look up towards that arm. Breathe in, hand down. I'm going to take my foot back, breathing out, lowering down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in and out. We're not going to hang around here this time. We're just going to stay here for a little moment. And then we're going to breathe in and step our left leg forward, coming back into our lunge. If at any point when we're doing the lower down, and we're taking 5 seconds to do that, if you can't hold it that long, best thing to do is to control yourself down. Don't collapse out of it. It will help you build your strength, and will also help you realize how much strength you do have if you're always coming out of things with control rather than just going, oh, I can't do it. All right, turning to the side, reaching forward, reaching down to the bottom foot, looking up at the top hand. Breathing in, turning the hips to face the front again, up on the back toe again. I'm reaching my left arm up now, looking up towards my left hand. And I am wondering, while I look at my left hand, how I missed my pinky finger. No idea. Breathing in, hand comes down, foot goes back, we're in our front support. We're breathing out and lowering down in 5, 4, or how many you can with control, 2, 1. Breathe in, cobra. Breathing out, back to down dog. Again, we're not going to stay here this time. We're going to breathe in, jump our feet forward. Breathe out, stretch down. Breathe in to come up. And out. Let's just keep going. Breathing in. And out. Breathe in, back extension. Out, hands down, front support, lowering down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, cobra. Breathing out, tucking our toes, heading back to down dog. We're going to hang out here for a little bit, so don't forget your checklist. I'm not going through it this time. This is like third time's a charm. Let's see what you remember. I'll go through it again next time, just in case you missed something. Definitely don't miss the breathing. All right, so for the next bit, we're going to breathe in and look forward. You can come to your knees here if you like. As we breathe out, we're going to try and bring our nose as close to the floor as we can and come through to our cobra, and then come over into a side support on one side. Want to try and make sure that your hips are vertical. I think I'm dropping mine a little bit there. Try and have a straight line. Not going to stay here for too long. If you notice that your arm is shaking while you're trying to do this, it's because you're human. Breathe in, bring the hand down, back to front support. Breathing out, lowering down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in and out. Not hanging around. Breathe in, looking forward. Again, come to your knees if you would like. As you breathe out, bringing your nose as close to the floor as you can. Breathing in for cobra. Then we're coming over to the other side. Go, you good things. I'm going to say you're doing great. I can't see you, but if you're up to here, you're doing great. Breathe in, hand down. Breathing out, lowering down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, cobra. And out. Back to down dog, not for long. Breathe in, jump your feet forward. Breathing out, stretching down. Breathing in to come up. And out. There's more. Still a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So I should be feeling fairly warm in our arms now. We'll have a drink break very soon. Stay with us. All right, breathing in. And out. Breathe in, back extension. Breathing out, hands down, feet back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, cobra. And out. Tuck your toes. We're going to stay here for a bit. I'm going to remind you of that checklist. It should feel really different from the first one you did because we're a lot warmer now. So armpits towards the ankles, bum up to the roof, neck relaxed, thumb and forefinger pushing into the floor but trying to roll your shoulder blades away from each other. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, breathing in, we're going to take our left leg directly up behind us. Really trying to work our hips high and trying to work our armpits towards the ankle that's still on the floor. Keep working both of those things. We're going to open the hips to the side. My left leg is bent now, and the weight of it is dropping over to my right to help stretch the left side of my body. I'm going to take it straight back up again, bringing it down, really trying to reset that position so I've got a nice, good down dog shape. I'm going to lift up the other leg. Really working the armpits towards the ankle that's on the floor, hips up, and then opening to the right. Letting the right leg just drop down towards the left to give me a stretch along the right side of my body. I'm trying really hard to work my forefinger knuckle into the floor here. It's pretty hard, but I'm going to keep working at it. Taking that leg straight back up again. And then this time, we're going to bring it in front of us, across the front of our body. I'm going to keep my chest up. I imagine you can see my magical color changing face right now. It's probably a little bit red. This is a bit of hard work. All right, I'm going to keep my chest up. The reason I'm keeping my chest up, I want my hips square to the floor, and I want gravity to help me get them a little bit closer to the floor so I don't have to do all the work myself. I'm going to try and stretch my back leg out a little bit further. Just settle into that position a little bit. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to creep it forward. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do here. I like to really just kind of lay right out in this stretch. Not everybody wants to put their face on the floor, so you can make a little stand with one or both fists. I'm just going to go for it. Alrighty, hands under your shoulders. Bringing your chest back up, I'm going to tuck the back toe, go back to my front support. Oh, look at that, I'm in a front support. I might as well do 5 push-ups while I'm here. So we're doing tricep push-ups. Let's keep our elbows by our sides. You can go from knees. If you don't want to go from knees for the whole thing, I've lost count, I think that's 5. And I'm going to bring the other leg forward. You can, in your push-ups, you can lower down from your toes and push back up from your knees as well. Got a question for you about push-ups from knees. What do you call them? Anyone else in the room, what do you call push-ups from your knees? That's right, push-ups from your knees. That's what they're called. Just checking. Alrighty, hands under shoulders. I'm going to bring my chest up again. I'm going to tuck my back toe, and I'm going to go back to my front support. And because I'm here, I'm going to do 5 push-ups. And then I'm going to put my knees down, push back to child pose, and then tuck my toes. I'm going to try to keep my armpits as low as they are, and I'm going to try and push up into my down dog one last time. Breathe in, jump the feet forward. Breathe out, stretch down. Breathe in to come up. and out. Maybe have a drink of water. All right, so I feel like while our arms and wrists are pretty well warmed up, let's throw some balancing into the mix. So if you are quite comfortable doing a froggy or crow, as it is called in yoga, then by all means have a little bit of a play around with that now. If you're just kind of working on it, I'm going to say there's a lot of right ways to do things. I'm going to teach my way for getting into froggy. Lots of different ways to do it that aren't wrong, including this one. So I'm going to get folks to start off with their feet together and knees nice and wide. And then you want to get your triceps and push them into the insides of your knees. So not on the tops of your knees, insides of your knees. And then place your hands on the floor. They'll end up, so that they end up underneath your elbows, they'll probably be a tiny little bit wider than shoulder width. If you're not used to balancing on your hands, you might often end up putting your hands a fair bit wider than your shoulders anyway. So a good way to kind of gauge how wide they need to be, if you are doing shoulder width or to see what shoulder width is to put one hand down, put the other hand down on top of it, put your elbow down on the floor, and then put your hand where your elbow was. And you'll generally be underneath your shoulders for that. As I said before, when we are balanced on our hands, these fingers forward. And you want to have your fingers splayed nice and wide, then you've got a bigger platform for the weight. And you want to make sure the weight isn't just in the heel of your hand. You want to be actually pushing your fingertips into the floor, so gripping the floor, but also pushing down with this part of your hand as well. So fingertips, ball of hand, heel of hand. So coming back to where we were, I've pushed my triceps into the insides of my knees, hands on the floor, and then I might do this slightly more side on this bit so you can see where I'm placing my weight. So I'm not going to throw myself up into this at all. I'm going to just kind of rock forward, lift my bottom a little bit, move my weight so that my elbows are kind of over my hands, and I'm just leaning until there's no weight in my feet. So there's no point where I try to jump into it. It's a smooth transition of weight. If I try to lift my feet while there's still weight in them, it doesn't really work. Unless I am really well practiced and know what I'm doing. Yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of a panic moment. It's like, oh, I've got to get it. Just lean. You can do this with like one toe on the floor still. Yeah, so we'll just have a few goes at that. I'll do another one. So like I said, leaning forward, my chest comes quite low. I've still got one toe on the floor here. I'm really pushing into my fingertips, pushing the balls of my hands and the heels of my hands into the floor. If you do tip forward with this, you just kind of want to put your head down rather than keeping your eye on the floor. Don't keep your eye on the floor, because if you keep your eye on the floor, you're going to land on your face with your neck on a really not nice angle. Yeah. So you might want to, if you don't have a yoga mat, maybe put a cushion in front of you. Or a jumper or something. It's not very far to go. And then just give your wrists a little bit of a hug with the other hand after that. Just give them a little bit of love. And we're going to move on. While we're down on the floor, let's do a little bit of Pilates-based stuff. The reason that I really like this exercise is someone who was asked if they were born feet first because they were so bad at going upside down. I found this exercise really useful in helping me get into an upside down position in a controlled way. And yeah, it's strengthening, but I think it's gentle enough to be still kind of part of the warm-up as well. So basically, what we want to do is start off lying down and want to really just pull in with my abs on all sides. Basically, I want to pull my lower back down onto the floor. I want to make sure I can't fit anything under here. This is a lot easier, obviously, with my knees up than with my legs out straight. So drawing this all in, pulling my back down into the floor. I'm going to reach towards my ankles with my hands. But if you find you get a bit of a sore neck with this kind of stuff, you can just place your fingertips at the back of your head. Not to pull on your head or anything, but just to be able to relax your head back into them a little bit. So if you do get neck tension, please do that version. I'm then going to, so I'm pulling all of this in. I really want to hold this all in place. This is key for this one, is keeping all of this really, really still. I'm going to lift my legs up and have them at right angles. So aim is keep all of this as still as possible. On the out breath, I'm going to extend one of the legs, and on the in breath, I'm going to bring it back in. So that's all it is, but it's really about keeping this as still as possible, and it is at about that pace. So I reckon, just for the sake of this video, we'll do 10 all up. But what you can do, and what I would probably normally recommend, is do 10 on each side. So alternating, do 20 all up. If you want to do the full 20, you can pause the video, right? So starting here or here, take a breath in before you start, and then breathing out and in. As I said, making sure that none of this is moving, that your lower back is in contact with the floor, and that there's no tension in your neck. So as I said before, this position to keep your neck nice and relaxed. This is the 5th one. I wouldn't go any faster than this with this exercise. You might even want to take a little bit more time with it. Two to go, unless of course you want to pause the video, or you already have, and rolling over onto your side, or onto your front, sorry. Hands down, and I'm just going to think about pushing my tailbone as far away from the back of my head as possible, pushing my forearms into the floor, and I'm trying to bring my sternum forwards between my arms. Hands under shoulders, push back, child pose. All right, let's stand up and make our legs burn. Okay, so thinking about the ways, some of the ways that we use to strengthen our legs for basing. We don't have an acro partner to throw around on our legs in like an L basing position or something like that. I figured we could do some squats, but do them with a little bit of a difference. We're gonna start with feet under our hips. And we're gonna come down, we're gonna hang out for 5 seconds, then we're gonna do 5 pulses, and then we're gonna come back up, and we're gonna do 5 of those. All right, so you wanna make sure that you are not just throwing your chest forward here. So I wanna imagine I'm sitting back down onto something. So I'm gonna come down into my squat, I'm gonna hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm gonna pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to come back up over 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so there's 1. We've got 4 more to go. Coming down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding, didn't do that the first time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulsing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 to go. Down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulsing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. So when I said we were doing 5, there's 5 of those ones, and then there's 5 of the next ones. So we're going to come out into our sumo position or plie. So basically with this position, you want to make sure that your knees are tracking out over your feet. So my feet are at about a 45-degree angle, each of them from center. If I'm any wider than that, then I lose my front back stability. So knees tracking out over the feet, so I don't have my knees facing the front. I've got the insides of my knees facing the front. So we're going to do the same thing, coming down, holding, then pulsing, and then coming back up. So exactly the same thing. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulsing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that 2 or 3? I don't even know anymore. I'm having such a good time. Coming down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. Good work. Well done. We got through that. Now is the time either for our weight or our books or our yoga blocks. I'm going to show you what we're doing with them and talk about the different benefits of using each of those things, and then you can decide with what you have what you want to do. Okay, so I often do this one at home with a barbell. Yeah, don't have one of those here. So if I want to do this with weight, then I can just do it holding this. Also with your water bottle, if you've got a big water bottle with a bit of weight in it, you don't want to use heaps of weight. The fact that this moves around, that's going to help build your little stabilizer muscles. And books or yoga blocks are great for balance with this exercise. So I don't normally get to do it with balancing different objects, so I'm going to try these today. These are great because if they fall and hit you on the face, it won't disfigure your face. So basically, what we want to do, this is another exercise for basing. We want to think about stacking. So I am going to be holding weight in one arm, and I want to stack that arm over my shoulder all the way through this exercise. So I don't think this is going to be super challenging because of the way that yoga blocks are designed. I might try and make this a little bit trickier for myself. So I want to keep these balanced the whole time, and I'm going to go from standing, it's a bit rickety, go from standing, coming all the way down to lying down. It's best if you can lie down on your back, but I've got a mic pack attached to my butt, and I don't want to lie on it, so I'm not going all the way down. Anyway, from there, coming back up. Trying to keep that arm above the shoulder the whole way. And I also really want you to try not to put your hand on your knee to come up. So, we're going to do this, let's say for today, 4 times on each side. I want you to grab something, have a go with that. I'm going to go through with a couple of the other items that we've got, do a couple with each. We'll come back together. If you need to pause the video, please pause the video. So this time I've got this. I like to pretend I'm really hardcore and do it with heavy stuff. So I would like there to be more water in this, but I got thirsty. So same thing, trying to stack it above the shoulder. And again, I can't come all the way down. I've got a battery pack. Coming back up, not putting the hand on the knee. So keep working with that. So same thing, I've got it stacked above. I want to keep it stacked above all the way down and then all the way back up. When you've done your 4 on one side, swap to the other arm and do 4 on that side. Same thing. And I've just lost my battery pack. But I haven't lost this, it's still stacked. That's the important bit here, right? Probably want to sit down after all of that. No way, that's not happening. No, we're still going. So, well done, everybody. Fine work. We're gonna do a little bit of flying-based activity now. So, I want to give a shout out to my fellow women's circus trainers, Em and Sim. This is a little at-home exercise I picked up from them that I think is really, really useful for flyers and basers. Because if basers do flying things, then basers can middle things as well, which is super exciting. So basically, we're going to do step-ups onto the chair. There's 2 different types we're going to do. When we're climbing onto things in acrobalance, and we need to get, so this is what we're climbing onto, and this is us. We need to get from here to here. To get from there to there, there are two directions you need to go, and that's up and on. If you were to go up and then on, like that, you come up like this, your weight is kind of hanging out to the side. By the time you come on, you've kind of got sideways momentum, which isn't really helpful for anyone. The person that you're climbing on isn't going to be a big fan. So basically, when you are stepping onto something, the best way to transition your weight, in most cases I would say, is to come on and then up. Yeah, when we're already on, we've got our weight over something, then we're pushing our weight in the direction that gravity intends it to go. So this is really good work for that kind of climbing. The first one's you're gonna find a lot easier. First one of these step-up exercises that we're gonna do is gonna be the slightly easier one. Basically, what I wanna do is put one foot on, and I really wanna use my back leg as much as possible to help push myself up. I can use my arms as well. And it's really about getting this leg straight. It's not about getting the second foot on. It can be useful to place the second foot just so you can feel that you can do that with control, but not before this leg is straight. If you're bringing that up in a hurry, then you're going to end up with your bum sticking out, and you definitely don't want that. So we're going to bring our arms up, step up, pushing out of that back leg, and I can place that and then come back down. I want to try and control the down as well. So we're going to do 5 of those on each leg. So let's begin. So when I'm coming down, trying to keep control of that, I want to keep my weight over the foot that's on the chair. So you can feel free to do more of these exercises, particularly if this is not the first time you've watched this video. I'm swapping over now. So you can always pause. So this is just more about suggesting activities, doing them together as much as possible. But I would assume that some people watching this won't have really done these exercises before. I want this to be accessible for everyone. Is that 5? I don't know. But yeah, obviously if you want to do more, if you want to challenge yourself, feel free to pause, do a few more. All right, so the second round of these, it's a little bit harder. So basically what I want to do this time is try to use this leg as little as possible. So I'm trying to get all of my weight over the top of this foot and push through just this leg. My quads are not my strong point. I am going to struggle with this. Yeah, if I turn this, you'll be able to see the struggle in my face. So I want to bring my weight over that foot and push through that leg. And then same thing, as slow as I can, coming down. I'm trying not to push out of this one at all. So 5 on each leg. So this is quite a bit slower. If you can hear your foot touching the floor when you come down, like that, then you need to work on your ninja skills. So the aim is to land as silently as possible. The aim is that obviously the less sound you make, the softer your landing is, which is going to be quite nice if you're climbing down onto a person. It's going to be nice for them. Way to go. 2 to go. Oh, I might have cheated a little bit with that back foot there, I think. Okay, got this last one. Oh, cool, that's something I need to work on. And look, I think that's a good thing about doing exercises as well. If you're trying to do an exercise and you're like, oh my God, this is so hard, room for improvement, and knowing where that room for improvement is a really exciting thing, because it means you can improve on it, which is great. So now that we've finished with our chair, you might want to sit in it. We haven't actually finished with our chair. We're going to use this for a little body patterning exercise for bases in particular. So I would say before you do this exercise, just look up, look around, check for light fittings, check height of ceiling, things like that. Because basically this one is going to be about, quite often when we're lifting someone up over our heads, I think particularly, I just was talking before about how my quads are not my strong point. I tend to want to straighten them pretty quickly. If I straighten my legs before I straighten my arms, if I'm lifting somebody over my head, then it gets really hard to straighten my arms. So what we're going to do, just 10 of these with the chair. I'm going to bring the chair in, lift it up above my head and straighten my legs after my arms are straight. So hence the look up. Please don't smash your light fittings. So I've got the chair here. I'm going to bring it in, take it up to straight arms and straighten my legs. I'm going to do it a little bit faster than that when I do it for real, and just stand up between each one. So that's 1. We've got 9 to go. Another position that you can try this in is slightly front and back like this. I find when I'm basing certain things over my head that position gives me a little bit more stability this way as well. So you can try that. This is something that you can also do with weights, yeah? But the chair was handy. And it's awkward, kind of like a human. Humans can be really awkward to lift sometimes. I've lost count, but I'm going to assume that you kept going every time I stopped and had a chat. So I'm going to do like 2 more. So I found with a couple of ones I did, I kind of threw my elbows out to the side a bit. So it's something to watch for with this. I really want to keep my elbows in around the same width as my shoulders. Cool. Take a seat. Not for long. We're going to do a few tricep dips while we're here. So I want to make sure that my hands are pointing forward. Definitely not back this way. So with your tricep dips, there's a few different levels that we can work at. So standard tricep dips with straight legs, feet together, making sure your elbows are tracking back. It's not just about your hips going up and down. If that's a bit too challenging, then instead of having straight legs, you can bend your knees. Same thing though, try and use your arms, just don't bring it into here. If you would like more of a challenge, then you can do half of them with one leg hovering and the other half with the other leg hovering. We're just going to do 10, unless you pause the video if you want to do more than that. Okay. Nine, 10. Okay. All right, so something extra that you can do, which I think is really, really great for endurance, and also it's a really good, if you're doing this exercise, it's a really good exercise to be able to kind of gauge your levels of improvement with it. And that is an exercise that is often called 8 minutes of heaven. We're not going to chew up 8 minutes of this video by doing 8 minutes of heaven. And usually I get people to start off with 4 minutes. So this is one of those ones where you're going to decide for yourself how many minutes of heaven you would like to put yourself through. 8 minutes of heaven essentially is 8 different body positions, and you hold each one of them for 1 minute. And they're kind of, it's fairly easy to remember because they're kind of broken down into halves. So it's based on front support and dish, but your front support and your dish both have an up, a down, a side, and another side. So I'm just going to go through what those shapes are. I'm going to suggest that people start by doing 4 minutes of heaven, and you can build it up, like if you're doing it a couple of times a week, or a few times a week, or maybe once a week, just see how you go. And you can build it up by maybe 10 seconds at a time. You can do more than 8 minutes if you like. If you are doing 8 minutes of heaven, I'm going to suggest, again, this is something that you pop some music on for to be a nice motivational thing. I personally have found that Nina Simone's Cinnamon is a really, really good length for this, because you can start and kind of get into it, and then you've got a little bit of time after you finish your 8 minutes of heaven to just kind of roll around on the floor going, oh my God, I'm there, I've finished, I'm so awesome for doing that, but it's good. It's good to have that little extra bit of time at the end of the song for that. 8 different positions. First one is our front support. Our front support being our push-up position. So we talked earlier about our hand shape when we're on the floor and we've got weight in our hands, making sure that it's underneath our shoulders. Sometimes when we go to support our weight with our hands, we don't quite have it in the right spot because we're looking at it going, oh yeah, cool, I see them, they're right there, they're right underneath me. They might be right underneath your face. You want them underneath your shoulders. I want to really push up through my shoulders here. For those of you who know Happy Cat, Angry Cat, this is our Angry Cat shape. This is a Happy Cat shape. So happy. I'm going to Angry Cat just through my shoulders. I'm going to draw my belly button into my spine. I'm going to squeeze my bum and straighten my legs. I'm pushing into my fingertips. I'm pushing into the ball of my hand and the heel of my hand. So that is position number 1. Position number 2, after a minute or whatever length of time of that, is a side support. So we want to make sure that our hips are vertical, that we're making a straight line. If this is really hard to hold, split stance. Makes it a little bit easier. Again, more of a platform for the weight. Can be that way as well. Trying to keep your hips nice and vertical. Shoulder needs to be over the top of the wrist. We talked before about if that arm shakes. If you're not doing this exercise all the time, that arm is going to shake. It is okay. So that is position number 2. Position number 3. It's the same thing on the other side. Position number 4 is a rear support. An extra challenge that I think is good and useful for this is to try and go from your side support to your rear support without putting your hips on the floor. So with this one, I want to make sure that I'm not looking at my feet and that I'm not arching back like this. I want to have my neck in line with my spine And I want to have my fingers pointing towards my feet or out to the side a little bit is fine. Please don't do this with your hands facing backwards. If I have my hands facing this way and I lose balance, I'm going to come down on my bum and my elbows and I'm fine. But if I have them pointing back that way and I lose my balance, it's going to be painful and probably expensive. So keeping them this way. So they're the first 4 positions. That's half of it done already. The next 4 are all based on dish shape. So our dish shape. We talked a bit about it earlier with our Pilates. We're using all of this, so it's the same starting point. Using all of our abs on all sides to pull our lower back down into the floor. Hold that there. I start with bent legs. I straighten them. I lower my legs down as far as I can so that my back doesn't come off the floor. If my back comes off the floor when I'm up here, then I just keep my legs here. That's fine. You can also bend them. Yeah, you're going to be here for a little while. You can have arms above. So if you come down to here, you can have arms up above by your ears, or you can keep them here. Position number 6. So this is my side dish. I'm trying to lift my shoulder off the floor. I'm trying to have my hips vertical. Again, I'm squeezing my legs together, lifting my heels off the floor. I can use this top arm to help me balance, because if I don't, I'm going to fall on my face. I might not. You might not. But yeah, so you can use that hand there to balance you. 7th position, same thing, other side. Final position, and this is an appropriate one. I'm going to try and get into it without putting our shoulders or our feet on the floor. So you would go from your side, onto your front, into your superhero position. Yeah, I can hear the awesome Nina Simone vibes right now. Got a lot of physical association between this and that. Anyway, when you finish, as I said earlier, don't go, call 8 minutes and collapse. Control yourself down out of it. I tend to lie on the floor, keep listening to Nina, wiggle my hips around a little bit, and then hands under shoulders and push back into my child's pose. It's all right, we get to use the chair again. We're just gonna have a cool down now. So I'm gonna use the chair because it is handy. I'm gonna start with my shoulders. I'm going to just place my wrists on the back of the chair and walk back until my feet are under my hips and I'm drawing my belly button in towards my spine. I'm trying to roll my armpits so that they face each other. And I'm also trying to bring my chest through the floor. I'm not arching my back in this stretch at all. I'm going to take a few breaths here. Let's put our ankle up on the chair. If this is too high, you can turn the chair around. And I'm just going to try and keep my hips facing the front. And I'm going to reach down my leg towards my ankle. Try and find a nice squishy spot on the chair. Flex and point. I'm trying to bring my belly button down towards my knee. So it's not about trying to get my shoulders down towards my ankles. I'm trying to bring my belly button down towards my knee. I'm going to do that on the other side. And then, again, while we've got the chair, I'm going to do a bit of a quad stretch because we did all those squats and stuff earlier. So just the chair's there, I'm going to use it. So picking up my ankle, I want to bring my knees together, draw my foot up towards my bottom, and I'm tucking my tailbone under. And I want to think about, as I said, knees together, try to push hips forward, standing up nice and straight. Playing delicate little piano piece on the chair. Or if you don't need it to balance, just be like there, I don't even need you. I felt bad. All right, other side. If we get through the end of this and there's parts of your body you feel that you haven't stretched out, please do stretch them out. Yeah, every body is going to respond differently to what we've just done. So yeah, do take care of your bodies. I'm going to get rid of the chair. So coming down onto your front, I'll move back a little bit, make this a little bit easier for our lovely camera operator. So we're going to do the cactus arm one. I'm going to take one arm out straight, and then I'm going to come up on the fingertips of that arm. So this is my right arm is in this cactus shape. My left hand, I'm up on fingertips. I'm taking my left leg backwards. I'm feeling a stretch across the front of my right shoulder. Swapping sides. Make sure you are protecting your back when you're doing something like that. I'm going to go back over to this side. What I want to do is keep my forearm pointing forward, but I'm going to move my elbow forward a little bit. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but it's going to move the stretch into a different position. Same on the other side. Okay, now some stuff that's going to be really nice for you, unless you are a mic pack. Yeah, I always find these stretches a very, very pleasant way to kind of finish off. So I'm going to lie down. And I'm going to take my arms out to the side. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left knee. Take both my knees across to the left-hand side. I'm going to look towards my right hand. If I want a little bit more out of this stretch, I can also rest my left hand on top of my right knee. So like we did in the warm-up, I'm not actually pulling on it, just adding a little bit of weight just to get a little bit more out of the stretch. When we change sides, because I don't like to just kind of crank my back into the next position, I'm going to take the hand off, bring the knees closer to this left arm. They're untucked now. I'm going to draw my knees up and draw my belly button down into the floor. That way I'm protecting my back to come back to the center. Then I'm going to go in the other direction. Same thing. Using this hand to get a little bit more out of it. So if I've crossed my left knee over my right leg, legs are on the right, but I'm looking to the left. You can probably see a little bit better from this side. I let go, I bring the knees a little bit closer, I unhook them from each other, I draw them up, draw the belly button down to the floor. I'm going to place my right ankle on my left knee, reach through. So this one, depending on where you go, stretches have got different names. Our wonderful head rigger at Women's Circus is also our resident trainer. That is Franke Stadler. And I think because of the whole rigging background, this is now called bowline. So we're going to do the bowline stretch. Draw your tailbone down towards the floor when you do this stretch. It's not just about pulling the knee in towards your face. I'm also thinking about taking this knee away from my face. If you do all of those things, you'll find that you get a bit more of a stretch. Also, play around with what feels better for your body. Yeah. Swapping sides. We're nearly there, folks. But like I said, if there is something else that you feel the need to stretch out, by all means, do so. If you have any questions about anything from this video, please do get in touch with us. We're going to finish off with just like a nice little cuddle massage. So you don't actually have to sit up from where you were. You can just stay there, bring your knees to your chest. I'm going to make a nice round back and just do a little bit of a rock and roll here. So if my back is really round, I'm pushing out through here, I'm not getting that clunky moment. Going to come up to sitting, grab one foot. This is a little bit of a thread the needle kind of rock and roll. So this is probably what we'll finish up on. I'm going to hold this foot as I rock back, still holding this foot. I'm going to thread this leg through the gap and then come up, and now that leg is on top. I'm going to do that 6 times on each side. Because if I do it that many times, it means I get to practice it and it gets easier. I think that's 6. All right, last one, let's do it all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, must have only done it 5 times on the other side, 6. All right, so that's basically it for this version of acro-based strength and conditioning. I look forward to doing acro balance with the real people whenever I can. But yeah, thanks for joining us for this video. And like I said, if you have any questions, please get in touch. Out.